Hello and welcome to our Friday edition of Luminar Coffee Break. I'm your host, Angela Andrieux, and today is our Ask Me Anything free for all. You can ask us anything to do with photography, Luminar AI, and we're here to answer your questions. So if you have questions as we go through today's session, make sure you pop those into the chat pod and I'll do my best to get those answered for you. If you're watching this recording later on, go ahead and ask your questions in the comments below and I will get answers for you. Let's go ahead and switch to sharing my screen. And I'm going to bring up a list of searches that we had in our user guide over the past week. These were the terms that were most frequently searched. So I want to make sure we can address a couple of these during today's session. So the first one on the list there is batch processing. And we actually went in depth on that on Tuesday. So if you go back to the Luminar Coffee Break playlist here on YouTube and go to the one from November 2nd, you're going to find an episode that deals exclusively with that. So hopefully that's helpful for you. The second one on the list is catalog. And so I want to talk a bit about the catalog today and also about XF data. Hey George, good to see you. Glad you're joining us from Portugal today. That's awesome. All right, so let's switch over here to Luminar AI and take a look at the catalog module. So Luminar AI has some very basic tools for organizing your photos and helping you find them and keep them accessible throughout your workflow. So once you get your images onto your computer and into a folder, you can bring those folders into Luminar AI. You can also open up individual images, and the way to do that is up here with this plus button. You can choose to add a folder or add an image. A couple of other things you might want to be aware of is up here in our file menu, we also have a catalog folder. This is where you can start a new catalog, open an existing catalog, and I love this open recent because you can go back to catalogs you've opened in the past and have them easily at your fingertips. If you're looking for this file menu on Windows, that's going to be here by clicking on the Luminar AI icon, and all of those menus that I have at the top of my screen on the Mac will be here in this menu. And that's just a little difference that we have between Mac and Windows. All of the options are the same, they're just in a slightly different location. Hey Collis, good to see you. Glad you're able to join us today, and Gary from San Francisco. Hope you're actually getting some sun up there. I know San Francisco can often be windy and foggy. All right, so let's take a closer look at some of our other options we have in the catalog. First things first, up here at the top, you have some sorting options. So if you click on this one for showing, you can look at all photos. You can look at your favorites, rejected, ones that you haven't marked at all, or even search by ones you've edited. That can be a really quick and easy way. You go, I know I edited this photo, but I can't find it. Searching by edited is a great way to do that. And then up here, we also have some other sort mechanisms that you can search by time, file size, file name, and choose ascending, descending. All great tools to help you find what you're looking for. Now let's go ahead and take a look at some of our options here on the right. Up at the top, if we click on all photos, that's going to pull up every image in your entire catalog. So this is going to be, if you're not sure where to look, probably where you want to start. If you want to take a little trip down memory lane, there's also the on this day. And this will pull up images that you have from this day in previous years, which is kind of cool. Hey Joseph, good to see you today. If we go down here to single image edits, this is going to be where the images go when you go to the plus button and you choose to add image instead of a folder. They'll end up here in the single image edits. Now what you can do is you can always grab these edits and drag them into a folder if you want to put them into your organization system. I'm not going to do that right now, but it certainly is an option. You can also add these images to albums, which are shortcuts. All right, recently added is going to be images that you recently brought into Luminar AI. Recently edited is going to be edit images that you edited recently. So all of these images are ones that I've worked on in the pretty recent past. Lost edits. Now this is one that typically tends to trip people up. This is where images go when when Luminar AI loses connection with where those images are located on your hard drive. Typically when this happens, you've gone through your hard drive and you've tried to clean things up and you've either moved a file from its original location or you might have even gotten rid of it. So if you have images here in lost edits, you go ahead and click on the image, right click and choose locate image. And that's going to allow you to search around on your hard drive, find that new location of the image and reconnect it with Luminar AI. And finally, our trash. So Luminar's trash works in a couple of very specific ways. I'm going to start by getting this image that I have in my trash can. I'm going to right click on it and put it back. And that's going to bring it back into my Angela's Photos folder. So here's the image that I have. You can see I have two versions of this file. And this is the one that I want to get rid of. So I'm going to right click on that image and move it to the Luminar trash. Now, if I go take a look on my hard drive, let's say go ahead and right click, show in Finder. Let's give it a second here. You'll see that both versions of this image are still here on my hard drive and in this folder. Luminar didn't actually move them or delete them. It just put it into a shortcut trash folder, which is this one up here. Now, if I want to permanently delete this image, what I need to do is click on Empty Trash. Once I do that, this image will then be moved from Angela's Photos to my system trash can. Once I empty the trash, then that image will be permanently deleted. It's worth noting when you click this Empty Trash button that any edits that you have associated with that image will also be thrown away, but your image as itself, like the raw unedited image, will be in your trash can. So you still have one more chance to recover your unedited image before it's gone forever. But just kind of keep that in mind as you move things from your folders into Luminar Trash. Click Empty Trash, that puts it into your system trash. And then once you empty your system trash, then it's gone. All right. If you guys have any questions, don't forget to put those questions into the chat. I'll do my best to get those answered for you. And let's go ahead and take a look here. We also have our folders. These are pointed to different folders I have on my hard drive. And then albums are like shortcut files. They don't actually move your images, but they give you a few more options for organization. So you can group things together. Let's say you have 4 days of images from a trip and you want to pick some of your favorites from that particular trip and put them into a special album. That's a great place to do it. The other thing I wanted to point out to you is down here at the very bottom, if you're looking for that EXIF information, that metadata about your photo, all you have to do is click on that I right there for info, and it will bring up all of your metadata for the image. Let's take one more look here at our frequently asked questions and see what else we have here. Layers and texture. So Luminar AI does not have layers, but we do have an awesome texture tool. We go ahead and click over here to a photo. We'll go ahead and grab this one here. We'll go over to our Edit tab, and you can find textures over under Local Masking. We'll give that a second to render. There we go. And then you click Add and Texture. From the texture tool, we almost have layer-like functionality in that we can select our own textures. So if we go down to the bottom of the list, click this plus button, you can load up any texture of your own or even other images that you want to composite in. Now, it's not a true layer and there are some limitations there, but it does give you some options to have layer-like capability. Hello, Heart. So good to see you. And Andrew, great to have you on board today. Let's see here. Gary says if we have time, would like to see something on local adjustments. Great idea, Gary. I think this is a good image to work on that with. So I'm over here in our local masking, which is one of our primary areas to do local adjustments. I'm going to click on the Add button and choose Basic. And this is going to bring up my options for some local adjustments. From here, I can paint my mask in. I can use a radial mask or a gradient. And once I paint in these areas, let's say I want to slightly darken down this back area here of the wrist. I'm going to pull my exposure down a little bit. And then I'm going to bring the opacity of my brush down to, let's say, 50%. I'll use the bracket keys on my keyboard to make that a bit bigger. And then just lightly brush that in to give a little bit more darkening effect in that area. And you'll notice as I did that, the area back here got darker. Everything out here remained preserved. So that's how you make some selective local adjustments using the local masking tool. I also want to point out that if we go back over to our tools, and let's say, let's use our mystical. I wouldn't necessarily use it for this image, but it's a good one to give us a representation of what you can do with local masking on individual tools. I'm going to take the amount slider, pull that up really high, and let's adjust our shadows here. Maybe pull those down a little bit darker. Darken up this, or pull it back on the smoothness, and see if we can warm that up a little bit. Because we've already made this a monochrome image, the warmth isn't making much of a difference there. But what I can do here is click on the masking tool on the tool. And again, I can paint my mask, radial mask, gradient mask, and then go ahead and paint this effect in where I want it. So I'm going to choose my radial mask this time. I'm going to draw a circle here over the middle of my image. And what I just noticed is I did this the wrong way. So everything outside of the circle is being affected. Everything inside of the circle is being protected. So I'm going to actually undo that mask. And then I'm going to click on the one that affects the inside of the circle. And I'm going to draw a new mask. So I'm going to go ahead and clear that and make sure I'm choosing the inside of the circle. And let's do that again. So now I'm affecting the inside of the circle. Everything in that red area will get affected. Everything outside of it will not. So that's how you do local effects using individual tools as well. All right. I think we've probably covered enough for today. If you guys have any other questions, please be sure to put those into the comments below, and I'll do my best to get those answered for you. I want to wish you a wonderful weekend. And if you enjoyed this YouTube episode, make sure you give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.